Howdy, y'all. Ooh, I'm loud. Ooh, okay. So nice to see all of you here tonight. I gotta be honest though, when I think about a playground, I get a little bit uncomfortable. In fact, driving past like a park with swing sets makes me feel uneasy. And to be honest, I feel pretty silly about it because it's a playground, right? It's not a big deal. It should evoke memories of happiness and play. But for me, the playground makes me feel these memories of discomfort, right? And shame. And that's because as a trans person, I have a different experience with childhood. I've gotten to kind of build my own childhood as the years have gone on, but I am getting ahead of myself. When I was a kiddo, look at me, I'm so cute. Sorry. When I was a kiddo, I had a lot of unusual habits, but one of the biggest ones was that when I was playing with all my friends, I always wanted to be the boy. So if we were like enacting scenes from a movie, I had to be that one guy that was like rushing in, saving everyone, being super brave, all that stuff, right? Just the dashing young protagonist. And though most of the time my playmates did not seem to notice, every once in a while I got one of those looks that said, "Oh, she's doing this again." See, nowadays I like to think of myself as the dashing young man. I feel confident, right? I'm really, really proud of who I am. I'm pleased to be here and to be alive and to be trans. But it has not always felt this way. In fact, part of my experience has been creating my own sense of childhood as an adult. But rewinding again, I remember going to a department store with my mother. And amongst the racks of loungewear and pajama sets, I picked out my first bra. I felt totally overwhelmed in the dressing room. I was grappling with my new body, mid-puberty, everything felt kind of weird, and I felt broken. I could not figure out why I wasn't as excited as my mother was about these changes that were happening to me. And as I kept thinking about it, I really didn't fit in with a lot of my peers. It felt like a lot of the girls my age were supernatural at all of this, and I was just not. And I felt a little bit like a monster, clunkily trying on makeup and clothes until I learned how to play the part. Around the age of 15, I started to fit in a little bit better, but even as I became more adept at all things conventionally feminine, I couldn't figure out why it felt so forced. Turns out I would need to wait about 10 years to figure that out. Fast forward to when I was 25, just a few years ago, and I was standing in the exact same department store that I went to with my mother, but this time in the menswear section. I was surrounded by blazers and button-downs and boxers, and when I was in the changing room, I felt similarly uncomfortable, but this time it felt different. My belly was like warm, like I was ready to inhabit this body. Every single time I put on a new shirt or blazer, I cried. Everything felt new. This is not dissimilar from the way a lot of trans and non-binary people feel when they first come out of the closet as adults. We lovingly refer to this as the second puberty, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it, right? So if you're a trans and non-binary person that takes hormone replacement therapy, for example, or accesses medical gender-affirming care, your body literally changes, right? Like you're literally experiencing a second puberty. Your shape might change, your face will change, your vocal range might deepen. But this is also true socially, even if you don't access medical care. Transmasculine people will sweetly refer to themselves as boys as opposed to men. Transfeminine people might get together a gaggle of their girlfriends and go pick out their first bra. And some of us bring our partners to our first consultation for gender-affirming care because it feels a little too much like being a child if you go alone. I see this childlike wonder in so much of the work that I do. I have another vivid memory of this feeling of childhood. I was about a year out of the closet. I'd been living as trans for about a year, and my then best friend, now life partner, June, who is here tonight, give it up for June, she sat in front of me on the lid of the toilet seat in her bathroom in her house. And she had invited me over that day because she wanted help putting on her makeup, because today was going to be the first day that she was out as a trans woman at work. And my winged liner skills are still very much intact to this day, so I got that going for me. So she invited me over, and we were so excited. She was going to be able to be herself. She was going to be accepted. She was going to be out as her. It filled us with childlike wonder. It was beautiful. But as I sat in that bathroom, another feeling came across to me. It was similarly a feeling that I hadn't felt since childhood. It was this fear of the unknown. I remember really vividly, and I have never mentioned this to her, but as I lifted the mascara wand to her eyes, I had to keep myself from shaking because I was so afraid. I didn't know if when she went to work, if they were going to treat her kindly. I didn't know if they would use her correct name or pronouns. But beyond work, right? When she exists in the world and walks around and lives, how will people treat her? Will people threaten her? Will they harm her? Will she be safe? Will she be safe? Will she be safe? I ask myself that question every day. These are the kind of questions that us trans folks have to ask ourselves in our playground. And this is doubly so for trans folks of people of different marginalized, interlapping identities. This is part of the reason that I do the work that I do. At One Iowa, which is the statewide LGBTQ advocacy organization, I'm able to educate the surrounding community on trans and non-binary issues. I'm able to be a part of the Iowa Trans Mutual Aid Fund, which provides mutual aid funding to trans and non-binary people accessing gender-affirming care. And some of my favorite work to do is actually as a gender-affirming transition doula. So if you're not familiar with what a doula is, no sweat, a doula is a person that helps someone with a life transition. So this could be birth, it could be death, it could be adoption. But when I started this work, I realized trans people are literally in a transition, right? We should have people that can support us, and that's why I started doing the work that I do. It's so cool because I get to help trans folks create their own private playground to explore gender, try out new pronouns, come out to their families. They get support. And so often, the experience of transitioning and coming out is deeply traumatic. It is a very, very hard thing to be trans in this world. And so I'm so proud and honored to get to do the work that I do. But a lot of the trans non-binary adults that I work with wish that they had actually been able to come out when they were actual kids and youth. A lot of them think about the fact that they didn't get to be their true selves as a child. And they wish that they had had a safe space to explore their gender much younger than they got to as adults. But there are actually people that have already done this. Trans and non-binary youth exist on our sports teams, in our schools, and in our communities. These are individuals that deserve respect and compassion and safety. And right now, that's being taken away from them right and left. They want belonging and acceptance, just like I think a lot of you in the audience want. I know it's what I wanted when I was a kiddo. So you might have heard, but there are many nationwide attacks on the LGBTQ community right now. It's a really, really, really scary time to be trans. I come to you all tonight excited and happy, but weary, because it's really, really sad and hard every day to wake up in a space that is so hostile to you. So many of the attacks on trans and non-binary people focus on the most vulnerable of us, trans and non-binary youth. It intentionally wipes away their rights to exist, to play, to be kids. So this is where you all come in. We need you, right? This can come in really small forms, right? So you can be the kind person that gives someone the gift of safety and comfort, right? You can work with them and help them find a name that feels good to them. You can use their name and pronouns even if they're just testing them out. You can hold their purse for them while they rummage through a Target trying to find a swimsuit that makes them feel good about themselves. Or you can be that person that changes the mind of a family member that doesn't understand. You can always make sure that they have safety and security when they're with you. It's truly a gift to be given. But we also need you in other ways. That's not quite enough, actually. We need you to get involved and to know about the issues that are impacting the trans and non-binary community in your communities, in your cities, in your states, in this nation. We want and need you to ask yourself, what can I be doing to show up for trans and non-binary people? And when you think of the answer, actually do it. You are all just incredibly powerful. To my trans and non-binary siblings that might be watching this, you are loved, you are valid, and you are worthy. Even though it might feel really hard to be you, they cannot take you away from you, right? And I want you to see and hear that you belong. As I drive past my childhood playground today, I think about all of the different things that I think a kiddo deserves. Love, safety, respect, compassion. And those values anchor me. And I will not stop until every single one of us gets to play. Thank you.